Joining us now is Ejike. The story is trending around the world. Hello, Ejike.
What happened? It's because it's Friday, right?
Yes,
Happy Friday.
How are you doing? Good.
Good. TGIF. Good morning, Tunji.
Morning, OJ.
How are you? Good. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
OJ, it's Friday.
TGIF.
TGIF.
Yes.
Where are we going?
I'll tell you later.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right, then. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United Kingdom, Queen Elizabeth's heartwarming birthday message to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan's son, baby Archie, as he turned 2 on Thursday, tops the trend. And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William, and Kate Middleton's official YouTube account, launched on Wednesday, garnered over 300,000 subscribers in 24 hours.
By the way, you be careful what you say now, because these guys, they're filming.
I know. In the United States, Nigerian-born Wendy Okolo, who was the first black woman to obtain a PhD in aerospace engineering from the University of Texas at age 26, has become a NASA aerospace engineer in the Intelligence Systems Division. And SpaceX achieved the first successful touchdown of its prototype Starship rocket in South Texas on Wednesday, after 4 previous landing attempts ended in explosions. In India, authorities have converted auto rickshaws into makeshift ambulances to ferry COVID-19 patients following a shortfall in ambulances and a surge in the 3rd wave of coronavirus in the country. In Hong Kong, China, a rare Sakura diamond ring is expected to be sold for an estimated $38 million in an auction at Christie's. It is the largest purple-pink diamond to ever appear at auction. Under sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons are set to face the United States, Jamaica, and Portugal's women's national teams in Texas. The 4-nation tournament, which will take place from June 10th through the 16th, will mark the first time the United States has ever faced the Super Falcons outside of a world championship. Finally, under entertainment, British actor Idris Elba has been enlisted to host the 2021 edition of the Africa Day concert, featuring several African artists who will be performing on multiple stages, including Lagos and Johannesburg. The concert is scheduled to hold on May 25th.
Dancing, I guess there is a celebration.
Well, let's begin what's trending in Nigeria with reactions to the abducted students from Abia State University, Uturu. The students, who were reported to have been kidnapped on Wednesday night, were in a commercial bus returning to school around 8 p.m. when they ran into the armed gang, who marched them into a nearby forest, along with other yet-to-be-identified travelers. 2 of the students managed to escape, while an unspecified number of students are still being held in captivity. Well, many Nigerians have shared mixed reactions. Let's take a tweet from author and activist Reverend, who wrote, "Another day, another school abduction. It started from the northeast, moved to the northwest, and then the north central, and now the southeast. Who is safe in today's Nigeria? May God save the abducted Abia State University students, because Muhammadu Buhari won't save them." Well, in the meantime, the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has maintained his stance on non-negotiation with terrorists while commenting on the release of the students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanisation, Afaka. He said the state is currently at war and that the plan was to attack and kill the terrorists, even if it meant losing students in the process, which would be considered as collateral damage. I mean, we have a governor who's willing to sacrifice students. This is quite appalling. I want to go towards Reno Mokuri's tweet, which he said, nowhere is safe. When I saw that abduction of the students in Abia State, I was like, this is it. We are definitely at war.
Well, I was saying yesterday, and I'm sure I said the day before and the day before that, this is the issue with paying ransom and capitulating and pandering to these people. It emboldens them. Started in the north, it will inevitably travel down south, and here we are.
Yes.
But I do want to make a point that this is not a school abduction in the sense that we've come to know it, unfortunately, in Nigeria. The armed men did not go into a school and abduct them. They abducted them on the road, on their way to the school. Yes. So there's a slight distinction here. But the point is that students are not safe. Their parents are not safe. Their grandparents are not safe. Nobody is safe in any part of this country. There is no demographic that feels that they are immune. As for Governor El-Rufai, that is a truly shocking thing for him to have opened his mouth to say about human beings. Just dismissing them as collateral damage. Who says that?
Unbelievable.
And especially when, to the best of my, I really just hate to sit here like some kind of armchair military strategist, but to the best of my knowledge, that's not even his decision to make. That would obviously, I imagine, be the decision of the Air Force or the Army, not a governor's decision. So why did he feel the need to make such a insensitive comment?
Right. He said that it was a meeting between the Air Force as well, so they both planned to do that.
Well, it wasn't. It's not his call,
Correct.
and it's extremely insensitive that he
Right.
would say that.
Okay, I'll try to be very brief since, you have other topics. Well, I think Governor El-Rufai has been consistent. You will recall that the other day he said even if his own son were to be abducted by the terrorists or the bandits, he would not negotiate.
Yes.
Okay, so now he says even if it is other people's children, there will be, collateral damage if they adopt, that strategy that he defined. But, well, definitely the parents of the abducted students would not agree with him. And that was why they were protesting and they were asking for both government and concerned citizens to come to their rescue with money to pay the ransom. Again, as Tundu pointed out, nobody is safe in this country. And I think it's so sad that this is the situation in which we have found ourselves. And the president has even reached a point now where he's been reported as appealing to terrorists. The international community must look at that and see it as a very grave expression of helplessness, of being overwhelmed, of lack of capacity on the part of the Nigerian government. March 11, we had the students of Afaka being abducted. On April 20, we had students of Greenfield University being abducted. Now students have disappeared between Okigwe and Uturu, and all we have been told is by Chief John Kalu, the Commissioner of Information in Abia State, is that Abia State is working with Enugu State to recover, which is their, their famous favorite phrase, those students. We hope that that will happen, and we hope that this will be another reminder that truly nobody is safe.
Rufai, your comment on Governor El-Rufai.
Wow. That's one of my comments. Wow. So other people's children can be used as collateral damage, Abi? And when Governor El-Rufai says, what if it's my child? I don't pray for evil, but are we sure that if it's his child that is involved, he will allow his child to be used as collateral damage? Because people can just say things because it's not happened to them in this country in the name of being politically correct. So are we sure that we don't pray that his child is involved, we don't pray anybody's child is involved, but if his child is involved, is this the way he will react? He will not pay ransom? I mean, let's be truthful to ourselves.
All right.
There's a place for military intelligence. Can we bolster that? This same country shared intelligence with America that released that American that was captured in Niger. You don't really need to come in there and throw bombs every time. You can have a special covert operation. You can give it your very best.
All right.
And let's look at this deeply. But for you to say that other people's children will be used as collateral damage, really? Has that country become now that citizens, students, that only their crime is that they went to school and their government could not protect them, and the money that ought to be used in protecting them or to build school fences in the Safe School Corridor program was siphoned? Now you are saying they could be. We considered an option where they could be used as collateral damage. So what's the essence of rescuing them if they could be used as collateral damage? Let's speak truth to power.
All right. We'll take another story. Following the disappearance of controversial Nigerian Reverend Father Camillus Ejike Mbaka in Enugu State on Tuesday this week, his supporters violently broke into a cathedral and the bishop's court and vandalized some parts of the church's property. The Bishop of Enugu, Most Reverend Callistus Onaga, in a statement on Thursday called for week-long prayers starting today for reparation and atonement. Father Mbaka, who eventually appeared, told his followers that he could have been kept incommunicado by the bishop for 30 days if it were not for their protests. on Thursday reports that the Catholic Diocese of Enugu suspended the Reverend Father from church activities for a month over his political escapades, which they say continues to overshadow his theological obligations, made the rounds on social media. Tundu, this is quite shocking. Father Mbaka encouraging protesters to vandalize the church. I mean, where are we going here?
Encourage them?
Yes, by thanking them. That's encouragement.
No, I wouldn't call it encouragement, but it falls short of condemning them, which he ought to do. But I wouldn't call it encouragement. But for me, those protesters, they should really look within, because it looks like idolatry as far as I'm concerned, to attack a church, because of an individual. What happened to the sanctity of the church? I think it's completely wrong. If you're a follower of Father Mbaka, I want to assume that you're Catholic. So I want to assume that you hold the church sacred. So why would you go in and do that? That for me is bizarre. And I think you should have condemned them.
Correct.
However, this Bishop Callistus Onaga, according to Father Mbaka, he was to be held incommunicado for 30 days. That would, from what he has said, offend Section 35 of our Constitution. A bishop does not have the right to restrain his freedom of movement. That is false imprisonment. A bishop or the Enugu Catholic Diocese is not the Nigerian police force. They can lawfully imprison somebody for a sentence of 30 days.
Yes.
But the Archbishop, the Catholic Diocese cannot issue a sentence of 30 days. So I think everybody should sort of calm down a little bit. Because a man is a nuisance, because a man is an embarrassment, as far as you're concerned, does not equate the right to imprison him or restrain him. That much I will say.
Why I call this encouragement is because if it were to happen again, then the protesters will know to go do the same thing and he will be released. Well, we'll have to go on a short break now. Dr. Abati, before I take your comment, and when we come back, what's trending on the morning show will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show. We're still on What's Trending. Dr. Abati, I would love your comment or your analysis on Father Mbaka's
Okay, very
story.
quickly. I mean, this is the second time you are bringing this Father Ejike, Callistus Mbaka. You know, the other time I promised to write on him, I did. And then we had this development. Now, the Catholic Church is a highly hierarchical system. And they have, many ways in which they deal with rebellious or delinquent or disobedient priests, or priests who fall into what they call mortal sin. Those sins, as I pointed out earlier on, could be, either civil or ecclesiastical. Now, in this particular case, I think it's very important that the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Enugu, Reverend Callistus Onaga, decided to intervene in the Mbaka matter. Maybe he's doing this a bit late because they've created within the Catholic Church in the Enugu Diocese, a priest who has become an institution unto himself, who is more powerful than the entire Catholic Diocese. And you could see that was clearly illustrated in what happened. After he was invited by the bishop, his supporters, said he had disappeared. They marched from Emene to Enugu. They attacked the residence of the bishop. They attacked the church.
Desecrated the altar.
They issued threats.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, Father Mbaka was allowed to go. Now, part of the punishment, the least punishment under the Code of Canon Law, which is the codification of the disciplinary processes in the Catholic Church, the least is to ask a priest not to conduct Mass for 30 days. And to go, during that period, to go for repentance and, atonement, right? So this is what the bishop has done. But it's now gone beyond Mbaka, who left, who maybe informed his supporters to protest. And then at the end of the day, all the chaplaincies, all the churches within the diocese are now being asked to recite Psalm 51 and Psalm 23 for the next 1 week because of one man, and to recite decades of the Holy Mary Rosary. Now, if you look at the details of that, atonement recitation, it's about forgiveness, it's about sin, it's about, making peace with God. So what Bishop Onaga has done is to properly establish that all the people who attacked the church, have committed this sin. And I'm sure that practicing Catholics will understand the gravity of this. But what I would like to see is for the bishop, the diocese, to go further. If Mbaka wants to go and set up his own church, he's free to do so.
Yes.
After all, the oath of celibacy, the oath of commitment, you can renounce it, right? You can renounce the oath of the sacramental order.
Right.
So, but to have somebody inside the church that is misrepresenting the goals of the church, I think it's a big problem. Whether it's in the Catholic Church or it's in the Anglican Church, because discipline is also very important in spiritual matters.
Very well said, Dr. Abati Rufai. A comment from you so we could take our next story.
Oji, goodness me. You see, I think it was Majek Kudumi Fashek that said, religion is politics. And this is what is playing out.
Yes.
And that's why we should not bring religion close to politics. But in arguing that, I feel stupid because I think it was Mahatma Gandhi that said, those that say religion should not near politics don't know what they are saying, because religion itself is politics. All of this is because he has taken a political slant. I'm talking about Father Mbaka.
Yes.
And the person he supported politically didn't do well. This was the same Father Mbaka that was interviewed in 2016 when Nigerians called on him that Nigerians are suffering now. You supported the incumbent government. He said those were suffering of change. That's what he said in his address through his media aid. This was the same Father Mbaka that in 2015, this same Garba Shehu sent a message congratulating him on 20 years of being a priest. So what has changed all of a sudden? Now he's talking otherwise because it doesn't longer favor him politically, and now they are fighting back and forth. Right. And the sad thing is they are bringing religion into it. They are desecrating the house of God.
Right. Really sad.
Because of all of this. Religion is politics.
All right, Rufai, we'll take another story. A group of Nigerians held a protest on Tuesday in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to demand the release of two protesters, Emmanuel and Victor Udoka, who were arrested on April 5th and detained by the Kogi State Government for protesting against the Buhari administration by painting "Buhari must go" graffiti on a fence. The protesters carried branded banners with inscriptions such as "Protest is a constitutional right." One of the protesters, who spoke for others, said they were protesting against the continuous shrinking of the civil space, the lack of respect for citizens, and the total disregard for the rule of law. There are reports that Larry and Victor were seriously ill and had been denied medical treatment. The Kogi State Police Command on April 8th charged them with treasonable felony and public disturbance, and they have not been arraigned because the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigerian Workers are on strike and the courts are closed. The protesters demanded that the Nigerian government weigh into the case to get Larry and Victor released unconditionally. Tundu, a quick comment from you on this story.
This is disgraceful.
Yes.
Like I was saying earlier, even about Father Mbaka or about these protesters,
right.
Difference of opinion is not a criminal offense. It does not justify unlawful detention. And failing to give them medical attention is torture.
Yes, I just don't understand the treasonable felony.
It's ridiculous. They have a right to protest. Of course, it's not treasonable felony. They erred by defacing property, and that's about that.
Correct. All right, then we'll take our final story. Following the ongoing sexual assault investigation of Yoruba actor Olarinwaju Omiyenka, popularly known as Baba Ijesha, elementary schools in the country are now beginning to adopt sexual orientation activities into their curriculum, as we will see in this video that captured pupils singing a theme song that will protect them against pedophiles.
What do you do to your private parts? I will protect it. I will cover it. I will tell it to my mommy. I will tell it to my daddy. If you touch my private parts, I will tell. If you touch my private parts, I will tell. If you touch my private parts, I will tell. I will tell it to my mommy. I will tell it to my daddy. If you touch my private parts, I will tell.
How amazing is this?
I love it.
How amazing is this,
Fantastic.
Dr. Abati? Your analysis on this.
Well, given the prevalence of rape and pedophilia and gender-based violence in the country, I think it's very important that, children, even at the primary school level, are being taught about sexuality education, and they need to protect themselves. They're saying, I'll tell my parents, I'll tell my daddy, I will tell my mommy. I think it's very important, and that this may help. But you see, this is not new. Many years back, I was a resource person for an NGO called Action Health Incorporated, run by Nike Eshiet and her husband, Dr. Eshiet. Nike later became an Ashoka Fellow. One of the things that NGO was doing, with the Makato Foundation, was precisely this: sexuality education, reproductive health education for adolescents. And they developed training manuals for teachers. So I hope, somebody will escalate all of these. Teachers also need to be trained. It's not just about teaching children songs. There are approaches. They also developed manuals for different levels, for primary school, secondary school, university level. I think the time has come when we return to that and make sure that in the curriculum, one of the major arguments at the time was that there should be sexuality education in the curriculum. How do you defend yourself? If you're an adolescent, how do you negotiate sex? If you are an adult, how do you make reproductive health decisions? In the context of a patriarchal, misogynistic environment where men think that a woman is a chattel and that they have absolute right to the body of a woman, or vice versa, where some women think that they can intimidate, young boys and collect, favors from them that they do not deserve. So this is the issue. It should go beyond one school, because this is one school. This should become part of the curriculum nationwide, so that, from a young age, people will know how to protect themselves and defend their sexual rights.
I love that
I
point.
remember a time in this country when there was a culture of silence around sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And so to see this in a school assembly, we've come a long way.
It's amazing. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today.
See you
next week.